I was out taking my pup girl for a walk tonight, and I, for some reason, thought of the worst advice that I have ever been given in my professional career, quite possibly my just regular life. As a brand new labor and delivery nurse, I had the assignment of a fetal demise at like 22 weeks. As a labor nurse, that's like the worst because most likely the baby will be born alive, but too young to survive. And that's a pretty painful time to help somebody navigate through. I had done it as a tech, but it's totally different as the nurse. The nurse really runs the show on labor and delivery. The advice that the oncoming nurse gave me was, because even in report I started to get emotional at the situation and was feeling inadequate for the task. And the nurse that I was getting a report from told me, do not get emotional, you be strong. And so I did deliver, I helped that mom deliver that baby, and I got emotional because I am an emotional girl. But I didn't want to make it about me or make it harder on her. And so I had after she delivered, I had my back turned to her and I was just typing away at the computer. That feels, thinking back, that feels so cold and heartless, and that's not me. That's not what I have to offer. Luckily, that story has a really good ending. Like 2 or 3 years later, I was sitting at the labor and delivery desk again, still working nights, and she came in spontaneous labor, and I was able to help her deliver a healthy baby. We recognized each other right off the bat, so it was, the universe sent me a solid one on that. But it makes me think about how sometimes with SI patients, mental health patients, sometimes we believe them and sometimes we don't. And I think one nurse might believe one patient and one nurse might not believe the same patient. And it's not that, I don't know how necessary it is for us to believe them, but I do believe that the empathy that can be shown in that moment can be really something special. I find myself a lot of times not knowing what to say to them because they're in such a state, and I myself have been in multiple levels of such a state. So the line that I use is, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with this. I'm glad you came in today. We have a great team that's going to take really good care of you. That's it. With eye contact, whether I believe them or not. And that is going to sound different for everybody else. But I think that it's valuable to find your version of that. Because, especially as ER nurses, our combination of head and heart, skills and emotions, is what makes us priceless. And that is what I think gives us job satisfaction. When you're driving home and you're like, I wasn't so much feeling that patient, but to that patient you could have been the only validation or lifeline that they have felt in a really long time. So it's not going to look like everybody else, but I encourage you to find your version, your equation to make that connection.